This is the exact system that the clients that I work with, coaches, use to scale their solo coaching brand. In today's video, my name's Matt. I'm going to be helping you look at different elements of your business that you should look to either hire, automate, or just eliminate entirely when you're looking at scaling your solo coaching brand. Now, this video is for people who are finding success in the online coaching space, but it's just you. So you generate content, you do all the sales, you do all the fulfillment, and the brand is built around you. So this is highly specific and is something that should be treated differently to a standard coaching business where you have like multiple coaches or whatever. So this is specifically for you. So we're going to jump in straight away. And I've got some subheadings here for things that I see a lot of coaches are doing really well, but not necessarily the public sees this because they often want to keep it secret. So the first thing is staying client facing for as long as possible. Now, what I mean by that is by the following. So I mean sales, I mean fulfillment calls, and I mean content. So one of the biggest things that a lot of coaches get hung up on is that they want to one day potentially exit, or they want to not feel like they're the bane of the business at all times. Like if they switch off, then the business doesn't make money. Honestly, that's the truth. However, that's kind of the game that you signed up for when you started coaching. And realistically, online coaching, building a solo coaching brand allows you to build up your sphere, your social sphere, your credibility, your online presence, to the point where one day you could probably branch out into a different business and use that community to leverage sales into the new one. So if you've learnt a thing or two along the way, like this is a launch pad. Coaching is a launch pad brand. You might want to get into supplements. You might want to get into clothing. You might want to get into real estate, for example. A lot of my clients do that, end up just investing a bunch in real estate. So the thing is, though, you need to stay client facing for as long as possible. If you are making content and you're sending people towards a sales call where they're expecting you, and you show them someone else, they're not going to like it. And when you actually sign people, they're going to want to see you consistently. Whether that is in your fulfillment calls or your group calls and your content. If you sell a product, then delegate everything after that to someone else. The clients aren't going to stay as long and they're going to feel a little bit cheated. So stay client facing for as long as possible. It also allows you to keep a really good pulse on sales and also the fulfillment delivery. So that is one thing that I would suggest you do for as long as possible, is stay client facing. Delegate these tasks as soon as you can. So on the flip side of that coin of staying client facing as long as possible, delegate these tasks as soon as you can. So obviously we're going to have the really obvious ones, and I'm going to write these down, like accounting. So get an accountant as quickly as possible so you don't have to mess around with all your finances. The second one is get an appointment setter. So this is probably like a lot of people's first hire. Now, when to get an appointment setter is kind of a tough one. However, most of the time, it is when you can't simply keep up with the amount of leads that you are getting, and you're missing leads like you've got a leaky bucket. You're missing people through the cracks. So usually this is when you've experienced some kind of virality, back-to-back virality, so not just one video, but consistently people are showing up to work with you, and you are losing people because of your ability not being able to catch up to people. I would probably, like, if you're getting like multiple, like in the 10s to 20s to 30s to 40s amount of leads per week, I'd probably go an appointment setter even before you even try and automate this, simply because you can rely on a human a little bit to flesh out this process for you. Then you can take their learnings and implement some automation from there. So if you're getting like 10 leads a week and you're managing to close them, I would probably look towards an appointment setter as one of the things that you can do to aid your coaching. So accounting, appointment setter. What else do we think would be something that you need to delegate as soon as you kind of can? Content production. So if you are filming like floating head videos, if you are working on, like if you found a format that works for you, hiring a video editor and a cameraman, like a cameraman, is not a bad investment. The reason is you might pay $2,000 for a month's worth of content, or $3,000, and they might give you 30 pieces of content. And provided it's the type of content that's actually getting you leads currently, you can continue churning out these leads with 1/10 the amount of work. So you just have to show up on one day and film a bunch of content with this person, take 5 different hats or 2 different pairs of leggings or shirts or whatever, and you'll be able to churn out content significantly faster. A good social media content agency will schedule this content for you as well. So you can either go through an approval process, or you can just let them run it, where it is all scheduled onto your page. So I would look at these things probably first. The accounting being number 1, appointment setter number 2, video editor and cameraman. And from a couple of things that I would probably say you should probably continue doing and not delegate this straight away is, if you're running ads, if you understand ads, you're going to save yourself so much money in the long run, because ad agencies charge so much money. And if they don't, they're probably not that good. So if you can get results with ads and learn to improve ads, and that's what your day is spent on, then try and do that as well. There's one more role in here, but I'm going to leave it for the final little square here. But delegate these as soon as you can. It's really just super important. Obviously, after you get these covered, you want to look at maybe bringing a salesperson into it to take the overflow calls. If you're literally at 40 calls a week and you can't do any more, then bringing in a closer who can assist you with those, maybe a part-time closer to begin with, 10 hours a week, whatever it is, or 10 calls a week, to the point where you just have to, you just simply can't do any more and you're limited by yourself. That's when you have to look at transitioning out of this, stay client-facing for as long as possible. The next one is automate as much of the coaching as possible. So this is and I said as much of the coaching as possible, right? So this is pretty obvious, but when you are a solo coach, a lot of people are buying you, right? They're not buying your specific workout methods. They're not buying your Cert 3-4 in fitness. They are buying you because they resonated with your content, or they resonated with your online presence, and they want to be close to you. At the end of the day, so long as you get them good results, the program doesn't really matter, which is just if you're an online coach, you understand this. And if you're not, then this may seem a little bit of a shock to you, but 99% of coaches just template their programs, which is fine. So you want to automate as much of the coaching as possible. And the way that you can do this is through a really good onboarding. And if you have a really good onboarding where you ask the right questions, you can pretty much get someone's training programs queued up for the next 4 to 6 months. So what you're going to do is have a onboarding questionnaire that asks what their goal is. Is it weight loss? Is it muscle gain? Is it body recomposition? You're going to ask how many days a week they want to train. You're going to ask what kind of foods they like. And when you have all of this information, you need to build a workflow that can handle it. And I've gone through this in previous videos, so if you wanted to go back and find it, how to automate this, but I'm going to do a new one soon anyway. So you want to be able to have it pick which workflow is the best one for that client. And it's really easy. You usually filter by experience level, so beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You then filter by how many days a week they want to train, so 3, 4, 5. Most of the time people don't go 6, and then you want to filter by what their goal is. So you can do this with some just some simple maths, and if you don't want to do it yourself, then you can just employ me to do it. That's fine. I can do it for you. That's literally what I do. However, when you automate as much of this coaching as possible, you can then focus on what you can't actually automate, which is going back to staying client facing for as long as possible, which is talking to clients, which is the bane of a lot of coaches' existence. But however, if you have 100% worth of tasks to do every day, and the client facing stuff is 50%, it may seem like the thing you want to automate the most or delegate the most is like talking to clients. But if you remove the other 50% of work, you're still like net positive an additional 50% of time. So you'll just literally spend 50% of your day working on messaging clients. And if you want a business like that where you're not working all the time, this is probably a good idea. So automate as much of the coaching as possible. And ways that you can do this is by like increasing automated checkpoints as well. So if you have like, if you use Trainerize, for example, you can set like a 12-week schedule of notification messages like through Go High Level into Trainerize, where you can send like a message on week 1 being like, hey, I noticed it's like, hey, it's week 1. Super excited for you to get started, blah, blah, blah. And then like 3 days into week 1, it's like, hey, it's, Wednesday. Super excited for you to crush this Wednesday. And if you set up all those touch points in combination with staying accountable with your like contact with the clients, they will get really good results. So that's one thing. And automate as much as coaching as possible. It's usually just like create a big database of training programs and then set the algorithm to allocate information to people. Cool. And the last one is get ghost coaches. So I just had the little ghost here. You may think that bringing on a public-facing coach is a good idea. However, one of the biggest issues that I see solo coach brands who then scale into multi-coach brands have is 2 things. When the coach wants to leave because they get a sense of what good lead flow tastes like and they think they can do it alone, because most of the time you hire coaches because they can't market their business. And so they want to leave because they get a taste of the good life and they think that they can steal clients. So, if I'm getting paid, 65K a year, but I'm working with 50 clients right now. If I charge my 50 clients $100 a week, I'm going to be making so much more money. That happens every single time. It cannot be avoided of how often that happens. I've seen it time after time. So I highly recommend ghost coaches. Now, a ghost coach is someone who isn't going to be, the client will never know that this person is a ghost coach. You can use them to build out your training programs. You can use them to help your clients stay accountable. You can use them to communicate with clients about, admin related things, billing, etc. You do not have to be the face. When you get as an example, in Australia, when you turn 100, you get a written letter from the Queen that's signed with just the Queen's signature, right? She didn't sit there and type out, "Hi, Matt, congrats on making it to 100. She's had someone else do it for them, right? And when you get a message from like Miro, for example, every now and then you'll get a letter from the CEO. They use tools and they use like admin staff to set up those emails. It's not like the email is looking for me directly to send me a message being like, "Hey, are you liking the product?" Like it feels wrong, but it's really not. It's just helping you increase your impact across multiple people. And at the end of the day, if you coach that coach to be a good coach and the person gets results, no harm, no foul. So ghost coaches, in my opinion, take a big risk out of the equation of a public-facing coach getting too big for their boots kind of thing. And it allows you to step back on these parts, but also start, but still feel like you're staying in front of it, if that makes sense. So ghost coaches, a little bit hard to hire because it's hard to find people. Usually, if you're realistic and you can pay someone $80K a year, and you go to a gym and there's a personal trainer there who is a good coach but just never has any clients, they're probably your best bet. So you could cold outreach them just like in the gym, being like, "Hey, do you want to come work for me? I've got a remote position for you. You can do it from anywhere in the world. I'll pay you $80K. I'll set you some KPIs so that if you help scale the business, we can get to $100K. They're going to say yes 99% of the time because all in-person PTs usually want to become online coaches. And this is a great way for them to do it as well. So these are just the main things that I've seen in the like solo coaching brand space. I think that a lot of people do this wrong and they try and automate the wrong things first. So like, for example, they want to they might get to 60 clients and decide they no longer want to do sales calls. However, they got all 60 clients through sales calls. So what they try and automate is like, sign up on the website or sign up on, this Stripe checkout instead of actually doing the sales call. And they notice a massive dip in revenue, and it's a very humbling experience for them because they're just like, well, I thought I understood what my clients wanted. At the end of the day, you don't. You really can't forget what got you to the dance when you're trying to improve and scale. So I hope you guys found this valuable, a little bit different from the usual kind of just tutorial-based content. However, if you want someone to help you scale your solo coaching brand, this is my bread and butter. This is what I've been doing for the last couple of years. And I've worked with a lot of clients who are doing over 50, 60, 70, 80 to 100K a month with their solo coaching brands. And I'm going to be diving more into it in the future as well. So hope you guys have a great day. It's 7:34 in the morning for me right now, so I'm going to go get started on the workday. Peace.